Hello, this is Matt from tracyandmatt.co.uk and for unboxings.com. Here I have the Samsung Galaxy Portal, or the i5700. This is a follow-on from the Samsung Galaxy i7500 that we saw quite a few months ago now in actual fact. So we're going to do a quick unboxing video for you, have a look at the device and see what it has to offer. So first of all in the box, we have some information here from, well, we've got some bits and pieces from T-Mobile, because this is a T-Mobile handset provided by our friends over at T-Mobile. So we've got to think about recycling the handset when you finish with it. And we have the user manual itself. It does mention the Spiker there, because that's one of the names that the Portal goes under. So it doesn't actually say Portal on this particular manual. It actually does say Spiker, kind of interesting there. It's sold as the Portal here in the UK though. Have your warranty card, and we have Get More from your mobile there from Samsung. The handset itself is just to one side, which we're going to have a look at in just a few moments in more detail. Let's take a look at what else is in the box first. So we have a USB cable here, which is USB, standard USB to micro USB style sync and charge cable there, connecting up to your PC, transferring media, that sort of stuff. Have a headset, which has a 4-pole 3.5mm jack on one end, pretty standard. Almost everybody's cottoned on to the fact that we as consumers would like to be able to use our own headphones, and therefore are starting to put 3.5mm jacks on pretty much all their devices. So we have a length of cable, and then an inline microphone which does have a push button, that's for answering and hanging up the call. And then the headphones themselves, well, I've used these on other Samsung handsets before, and they are pretty decent. They are the in-ear style sort of noise isolation rather than cancelling, but they are pretty decent. So we do also have obviously the option of using our own headphones though. So then the last thing in the box is the UK 3-pin plug with a micro USB connector on the other end, obviously for charging up your handset. So let's take a look at the handset itself. Very similar to the Samsung Galaxy, as I say, we saw a good few months ago now. We have a 3.2-inch display, which is half VGA, so 320 by 480 pixels. Pretty standard for an Android-powered handset, to be honest. That was the first resolution that came out, and an awful lot of Android handsets do have that, of course, VGA resolution. You notice underneath the screen, it's fairly busy in actual fact. We have quite a number of buttons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, well 7 of the push button and a D-pad buttons in the middle there. So we have a menu button and a back button, which button here is kind of an internet button really, your home button and your phone keys underneath, D-pad with the OK button in the centre, the hang up button there also doubling up as the power button. So we'll now take a look around the side. On the left hand side we have an up and down volume control. That's pretty much all we have there. There is sort of an eyelet at the top there you can connect a phone charm. On the bottom, well, just the microphone hole really, and then a little bit that we can actually use to remove the back cover, which we'll do in a second. Dedicated camera button, and then there is this lock button at the top. And actually on the top face itself we have the 3.5mm headphone jack for plugging in your headphones, or indeed the actual wired headset. And then we have the micro USB sync charge connector there on the top. On the back we have a 3.2 megapixel autofocus camera. Notice though there is no flash unfortunately. And at the back, when we actually remove this protective film, which I'll do now, which is fairly well stuck on I have to say, isn't particularly shiny. In actual fact it's a matte finish, so if you want to take your self-portraits, which I know some are apt to do, well, you can't really do it very easily with this handset. It would be guesswork because you can't see your own reflection or anything. Back cover pops off like so. Back cover is fairly thin and flimsy plastic, but once it's in place it's not too bad. Battery itself is already in, as you can see, and is well, capacity isn't seen to, oh, it is listed as 1500 milliamp hours, and that pops in back in like so, like that. The SIM card is in this side here and it's already installed, and memory card is on this side. Micro SD HC memory support up to 32 gig. That's already in place. In actual fact, no, that's currently empty. I believe that you do get a memory card with the full retail, but I'll double check that when it comes to do the actual review. So let's just power up. And while we wait for that to turn on, let me run down the rest of the specification. It is quad band for GSM, but dual band for HSDPA 3G. Pretty much going to work wherever you take it, when you're on holiday, when you're roaming, everything else. It's likely to work pretty much everywhere, although some places in the USA maybe not going to get 3G coverage. 115mm from top to bottom, 57mm wide, and just over 13mm thick. It is a pretty slim handset. Weighs only 124 grams and sits quite nicely in the palm of your hand due to the shaping and the styling there. It's pretty decent. Has a built-in accelerometer so that when we rotate the device, the display rotates to suit. And we do also have 180 meg of built-in memory. Not an awful lot, but you're going to certainly want to use the micro SD card when you want to use anything like media, music, photos, that sort of stuff. You're definitely going to want to use your micro SD card. Bluetooth 2.1 with A2DP support. Does have built-in Wi-Fi supporting 802.11b and G, and 800 MHz processor. Compass and GPS also built in. So let's just take a very quick look around the OS. So screen lock here is done by the button on the side, so we hold that and that unlocks that, and we'll go to home. I think this handset has actually been used previously and has been set up, so it will be due a hard reset before we actually go ahead and do the review. So this has probably been out to another reviewer possibly by the looks of it, but we'll have a look through and see what we have. So first and foremost, it is Android 1.5. I find that slightly disappointing, to be honest with you. New handsets coming out with what, to all intents and purposes, is a fairly old version of the operating system now. It would be kind of like going out and buying a Windows Mobile handset with Windows Mobile 5 on it, or buying a new PC and having Windows 98. It's that kind of sort of analogy there. I do find that slightly disappointing, especially when lots of handsets are coming out with 2.0 and let's face it, 2.1. So, but anyway, let's move on. So you have your standard sort of Android interface here with your clock on the desktop, and you have different panels on either side. So you have Google Search on one side, and then you have a few other bits and pieces on the other side. RSC traffic, UK traffic, Facebook and email. And I think you only have 3 panels on 1.5. Yep, it's only 3 sort of panels or tabs, whatever you want to call them. At the bottom, we push the button to bring up the sort of main menu, which is all of our applications here. So in terms of applications, it looks fairly standard. Facebook is pre-installed, Google Talk. There is an DivX video on demand application there, and a layer, Lock 2.0. RAC traffic is possibly one of the more unusual items that's pre-installed in the UK traffic there. Something that we'll have a look at in Switcher. TTS service, YouTube client. Yeah, mostly it's pretty standard stuff that we've got installed on here. So we can close that back off, and if we push the button there, that brings up the menu here at the bottom, so we can go to settings, for example. You have your wireless controls, call settings, sound display, synchronization applications, that sort of stuff. Scrolling up, we've got about the phone, and we'll just slide that up like there. So it tells us what the model number is, and indeed, as you can see there, firmware version 1.5. Obviously that's Cupcake. As I say, find that a little bit of a disappointment, but I'll try not to harp on about that too much. The touchscreen is capacitive, so it does require only a slight touch, so it's pretty decent. And obviously the display is pretty clear. Don't know how well it comes across in the video, but it's pretty clear and sharp, fairly bright. I'm obviously filming in a fairly bright condition here, and the reflection isn't too bad either, so I think that's a fairly decent screen, to be honest with you. Many of the applications on here are, as I say, pretty standard. You've probably seen me do demo videos of Android devices many times before, so I won't go into too much detail on a lot of this stuff. Anything that's out of the ordinary we'll actually cover when we come to do the full review, which will be up in the next couple of weeks. So don't forget to follow us on Twitter. On Twitter we are Tracy and Matt. Definitely worth doing so. We're running a competition at the moment where you can win a Sony Ericsson Xperia X2, so definitely worth dropping in and following us on Twitter. And as I say, we'll be back with a full review of this handset and many others on tracymatt.co.uk very soon.